There will be a short delay of flight.
Welcome. The combination that you did not expect is in the cafe. Coffee and Beats, welcome back. I am your host, Rod the Magnificent, back with another episode, back with another review. And I will be remiss if I did this review by myself. I will be doing myself a disfavor. I recognize this particular podcast, and I noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, did you have a vinyl of her previous project?
No, but I did go to see her in Philadelphia.
That's right. That's what it was. And so I said, oh snap, I got a spelling fan in the building. All right, why not have QoolHand Podcast, something you gotta deal with me in the cafe. Welcome, my brother, to the cafe.
Thank you. Rod the Magnificent, thank you for having me on, just to be offered to be on your platform. I appreciate it because you do something that I feel like I struggle with, which is review music. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a passion since a long time ago. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I felt like it was something missing with, like when I was growing up, certain music was viewed a certain way, right? But I was never told, okay, what should I listen to? If I can't listen to that, what should I listen to? All right. So I felt like this podcast kind of opens up the door for that, helping people of my generation, your generation, just introduce them to something new, some of the mom and pops out there in the music world, and instead of the typical stuff you hear on the radio or nowadays TikTok and social media and stuff like that. So not gonna get into rambling about myself. We here to review the new Spelling album, and for those who are not familiar with spelling, you're gonna get really acquainted with spelling after this episode. So before we get into that, quick question for you, QoolHand.
Yes, sir.
Coffee guy or tea guy?
Coffee. Well, both, but coffee.
Nice. What's your go-to when it comes to coffee? Like, do you go for, are you a cold, a latte guy, cappuccino guy? What do you usually go after?
So I'm split into three things. Now, if you catch me out, I'm either just gonna get like a black medium roast or a black Americano. When I'm not drinking my coffee black, throwing some oat milk creamer. So that's my main thing.
Nice. I'm still trying to get into the black. I did an episode. There's a brother actually in my city. He kind of took a pause right now on it, but he was called, shout out to Synergy Coffee. He was bringing out he was trying to bring back that whole black flavored coffee type of feel to it, and his stuff is really good. It's really good. You can order it online too, actually. But he started getting me into it, and I still can't let go of the creamer, man. I can't let go of the sugar.
It's an acquired taste. So let me ask you this: have you drank black coffee like with a donut, with cake, with some sort of pastry? Because I feel like the black coffee can enhance like a piece of cake or a donut.
No, you know what? Every time someone gave me black coffee, it was just that. I didn't have it with anything. You might be on to something. I might have to do that next time. Order me a Americana and just get I don't know if Starbucks sells those glazed donuts anymore, but yeah, I might have to have one. Or I have one with the lemon cake they got or whatever, and see how it goes. I'm gonna take your word on that. Try it. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm more of a latte, cappuccino type of guy. I laid off the fraps. When we did research on the fraps, man, I was like, dude, I don't understand. I don't know how I'm not in a coma yet. But
the sugar.
Ooh, no joke. But yeah, getting into this album, I just want to do a quick introduction To those that might not know, Spelling is up for review. Her new album is called Portrait of My Heart, and this is her 5th studio album, if I'm not mistaken. Her first album came out in 2017, Phantom Farewell, and then she dropped her second album, which put her on the map, Maisie Fly. And then after that, she turned heads with The Turning Wheel. And then after that, she came out with more of a experimental pop type of vibe with Spelling and the Mystery School. So this is her 5th album. Just want to ask you a quick question. How were you introduced to Spelling?
Quite frankly, just pitchfork.com. I was a huge, big music person, more than I am now. In my early 20s, I was on pitchfork.com every single day, seeing what they reviewed, seeing what got best new music. And I'm a big album artwork guy. So the first project I was introduced to was Maisie Fly. And I'm seeing, this lady on there in a cowboy hat, white dress, in a barn. I'm like, that's cool. I'll check this out. And it was that from there.
It had a very low budget type of album cover feel to it, which was what I like about that album cover too. It was real throwback. It looked like an album cover from the 70s almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, she had kind of like a neo soul, experimental type of neo soul vibe to that album. My introduction to Spelling was Rate Your Music or RateMyMusic.com. It's basically one of those it's one of those websites where you can go on there and write written reviews of albums. You can give them 5 stars, you can trash them, you can do whatever you want with them. And there are a lot of music critics on there, and they're very harsh with a lot of albums. And I found out about Turning Wheel, and I don't go there to read those reviews. I just go on there to see what's new coming out. I have a pattern that I follow every Friday. Okay, I gotta look at this area, see what's coming out. Rate My Music, I checked them, and I saw Spelling, and I was like, okay, progressive pop, experimental neo soul, what is this all about? I listened to Turning Wheel. I only got halfway through the album, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come back to this, because I think I was in the car, and I was like, you know what, my mind's not ready for this yet, because this is different. This is a different experience. So you're gonna laugh at me when I tell you this story. After that, I used to follow, I still follow, I watch his reviews every now and then, but Anthony Fantano reviewed her album and gave it a 10. And I was like, Anthony he barely gives 10s out like that. He gave it a 10. He even interviewed her. I watched some of the interview, and I was like, oh, she's nice. She's a nice, very creative and everything. Album is getting great reviews on Pitchfork. Anthony Fantano gave it a 10. When the next time I came back to listen to this album, before this review,
I feel it.
Because this is what happened. So before I reached out to you about the review, that's when I actually listened to Turning Wheel. I was like, you know what? I had saw, and it's another website that I follow called Metric, I think. Metric, it lets me know what's coming out. I saw that Spelling was coming out soon. I was like, oh, you know what? I need to listen to go revisit the Turning Wheel. And so I listened to it all the way through. I liked it. I don't know if I kind of feel bad, because I feel like if I would have reviewed it back when it was out, it probably would have made my top 25. It's a phenomenal album. And I was like, what was wrong with me? It was one of those moments, man. I felt like I swung and missed on. And so I said, I'm determined. I'm not going to miss her next release. I'm going to make sure. I mean, when Spelling in the Mystery School came out, that was kind of more her dabbling back into some old stuff and doing some covers and stuff. Yeah, I was like, oh, I ain't going to do that one. And then she came out with this one, Portrait of My Heart. I was like, I got to reach out to QoolHand. We got to do this review. So that's how I was introduced. And then the album came out. I listened to it. And so there you have it. For those who might not be familiar with where to go, or you might be watching this review and you might be thinking to yourself, Spelling, what is she about? What's her style like? Who would you compare it to? A question for you, QoolHand. Who would you compare her style to kind of help the audience familiarize themselves with her music?
That's a great question because, and I'm not afraid to say, I do not know. Uh, I have, man, and I'm just going to give you some props real quick because you're so thorough, and versed just in music that you can probably pinpoint this better for someone. But for me, I can't really think of anyone she really compares to. Now, this album that we'll talk about is comparable to other artists because she kind of jumps into a different genre on this album.
Yeah, she did.
But their overall style, man, I have nobody to compare her to. I would just say like avant-garde or however it's pronounced. Yeah, no clue.
I would throw in Kate Bush. I think she sounds like, she kind of gives me Kate Bush type of vibes. And then it's another artist. She reminds me, Bjork. She reminds me of Bjork. Like Kate Bush, Bjork, and I would throw in, okay, she does this falsetto thing with her voice sometimes. It kind of reminds me, it's not as good as Minnie Riperton, but it's kind of like on that same, wave a little bit, but she tries it, but she can't go all the way there. So she go back to the Kate Bush sound, but that's what she reminds me of. So if you are watching, just think along those lines, some of those left field type of artists. Minnie Riperton wasn't left field, but I would even throw in Portishead or something like that, where it's, something that is an acquired taste.
Definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah. And so let's get into the album, man. First impressions of the new album when you first unwrap this present, man. What was your thoughts?
My overall thoughts, first listening to it, I enjoy it. I like it. Even with her going into more of like a rock, grungy type thing for the most part on this album, I did like it. And I'll compare it to another artist that I like who went into like the rock thing and I didn't feel it is, hope I say her name correctly, Biba Doobie. And she had, I can't remember what album it was. It had to be between 2021 and maybe 2023. And I was a big supporter of her music. And then when I heard the pop rockish thing, I'm like, nah, this grungy type from her, I'm not feeling it. So there's people who can do it but not connect with people like myself. So I think Spelling did it well. So I enjoyed the album.
Was it Beatopia?
Maybe.
It might have been or Fake It Flowers. It's one of those.
I want to feel like it's Fake It Flowers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look it up right now. But it might have been Fake It Flowers. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, it's
always Fake It Flowers. Yeah. Because I don't remember her getting rocky on Beatopia.
Yeah, I didn't even finish Fake It Flowers. That's how. Maybe I'm doing myself a disservice, but yeah, Spelling did it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she went kind of the Nirvana Soundgarden type of lane here with this album. The very first song, it's like I feel like I'm listening to TRL, Avril Lavigne, and I'm like, okay, she's going a different route here. Because when I listened to the Turning Wheel, it was totally different.
Right.
Totally different. Way more mellow in some pockets. She had her moments, but this was like, man, like what made her? Did she watch a bunch of 90s movies? Like, or watch a bunch of MTV, classic MTV or classic VH1 on those like Roku channels with the music, music channels. You just sit back and just watch a bunch of throwback videos. I think maybe that was the case with her. And she just said, you know what? I got it. This is what I'm going to do with my next album. And yeah, that's what I felt. I was like, in the beginning, I would say the first half of the album, I was like, okay, this is what's up. And then the second half, she just turned it up all the way to 12, man. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I was like, okay, Spelling, it is what it is. What do you think of the cover art?
So the cover art, if I was going to judge what the album would have sounded like before it came out and only basing it off the cover art, I would have thought, okay, we're in for classic spelling, the left field type stuff, because the cover art kind of falls in line with everything else that she does, kind of like a mysterious, you see like, the colors, things are blurred. So it just gave me the expectation of regular spelling. Not to say that the music would be repetitive from the other albums, but we're in for another one. We're in for a new spelling experience. So, it fell in line. It was, regular spelling art.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of reminded me of her first record where it was red, and I was like, okay, you seen her really good on that album cover. On this one, you kind of don't see her. And then you have that little corner with the album cover. I was like, man, is this like, did she do this like a old school, like one of those old school square box computers with the little thing, the little square at the top? I don't know but I think she was trying to live up to the, lane that she was going in when she put together this album. But it still have a throwback 2000s album cover feel to it,
Yeah.
Especially I still think the Turning Wheel, I think that album cover is really good too. But this one it's almost kind of similar, but it's darker than that one. As far as the first track that caught your attention, which track grabbed you right away, where you was like, oh, okay, this is the one?
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be the title track, the very first song, Portrait of My Heart, because I did not listen to any singles. I believe Portrait of My Heart was a single, and I want to say there was a video, but I didn't listen to anything prior to the album dropping. So when I first listened to it, I'm like, oh, this is the time we're on. So it's a good song, and it immediately, that definitely caught my attention, because I just thought we were in for some regular spellings.
Yeah.
And she did the song well, so I did enjoy Portrait of My Heart. It was a sound that I wasn't used to coming from spelling. So yeah, that got my attention real quick.
Yeah. It's a great way to open up the album. That chorus, man. I'll belong here. It's just like I thought my first impression of that song, and that was again, I'm with you on that one. I think that was the first song that caught my attention before I even got into the rest of the album. I was like, man, okay, is she gonna stay in this lane, or is it? But she stayed there, for most of the album. She took a break a couple of times in the record, but I was like, okay, this is a nice little way to start off the album, give us an idea of what direction she's going in, because it started off totally different from the way Turning Wheel started off, So I thought that was a pretty good introduction to get us into the mood of the album. Let's get into our next segment, top 5 favorite tracks. What is yours? If you got some honorable mentions, feel free to share those too.
Yeah, so let me go to my top 5. Let's see. Here we go. So my top 5, I have Alibi, which was, so I have a fun track, easy to relate to and to sing to. And she's talking about not taking back a relationship or a friendship with someone, not taking them back. There was an imbalance in the relationship or friendship or whatever it was. And specifically the other party not, in a sense, caring enough. So the song, the vibe, it was explosive, had the grungy vibe. Ammunition, which was, now my notes say more of a ballad. And then the song elevated with a cool guitar solo, and it picks up in the second verse with more drums. My third track is Mount Analog, and I didn't know that the additional vocals on there is Toro y Moi. So I like the keys on there
too, which is crazy.
Yeah, so it still didn't sound like him to me when I found out those other vocals were his. So, and I also like the keys on there. Let's see. The last song, so yeah, is Love Ray Eyes. And I have no additional notes for it because I replaced the song in my top 5 with that song at the last minute. So yeah.
Cool. So that's what
Yeah, that's my top 5, but I want to know yours.
So I got the title track, Portrait of My Heart, as at number 5. I got Satisfaction in there, and it's one of my favorite tracks off the album. Like the way she closed that track out, it made it sound like I could hear Rage of the Machine going off at the end of that track, and I could see like her at a concert. And once she gets to that part in the song, Rage of the Machine just comes out of nowhere, and enters the stage, and the crowd goes insane, and they just rock out for like 2 seconds, and then they just say, all right, peace out, because that's how long that part lasted, you know. So I like Satisfaction, love the way it started. I like Drain, gives me those throwback Nirvana, Soundgarden type of vibes. She even goes into this haunting, screaming chant at the end over these crazy drums. And I know rock heads don't like that. They like their drums balanced. They don't like the all over the place stuff. I do. I like it. I like chaos. And that's what, the way that track ended, it just ended with chaos. I love it. Mount Analog, like you said, that's my fourth song. Mount Analog was really good. You don't even see Toro in the credits, because I checked the credits. I'm looking at the credits. I'm like, I don't see, Chad in here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how did the way she snuck him into the song? And it was so subtle, like if you're not a Toro y Moi fan, it's gonna fly over your head. But I am. I'm a hardcore. I've been a Toro guy since 2013. I am not afraid to admit it. Yeah. So don't get me started on Toro. So yeah, like I was like, wait a minute, is that Toro? I actually had to look up an album review. I don't know the guy's name. I just typed in, reviews for spelling, and I just clicked his, and he did confirm that Toro was on the track. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Great feature. Mount Analog is just a great song. It's just a great song, period. And then Alibi, I also have that too, as to complete my top 5. It's very dreamy. It's introspective. Her vocals float throughout the track. I love the chorus to Alibi. It's very good. I love the guitar solo. Well, it's not a guitar solo, but it was like a combination of a guitar solo along with the drums. It was just like a little rock out session at the end of the track. I thought that was pretty good. And I don't have any honorable mentions, but I just think that those were the 5 tracks that stood out to me the most.
Gotcha. I don't think I said my very first one, which was Portrait of My Heart. When you said Portrait of My Heart, and I'm looking at my notes, I'm like, you know what? That was on mine too. I think I jumped straight into Alibi. So I'm with you on, I'm with you. Good. I just don't want people to watch back and say, yeah, he don't know how to count.
They'll get you in the comment section.
Oh yeah. And another thing too, like mentioning Toro, like 2013 was my year too. That's when I really started like getting outside of like hip hop and R&B. Yeah. So he was like one of the first guys. Anything in Return was like, I was listening to that all day, every day.
Classic.
And I eventually met him in concert in Pittsburgh very long time ago. I wish I could find the picture. I was looking super sweet, throwing up, I was looking, but great artist.
These peace sign.
I didn't even know, dude. I didn't even know what to do. I just needed my picture. I'm looking stupid, cheesing ear to ear. But yeah, shout out to Toro y Moi.
Oh man. Oh, that's hilarious. I would love to see him in concert, man. I would love to see him. He's got so many tricks in his bag, man. You never know. He's kind of similar to Spelling. You never know what direction he's gonna go with each album. He can hit you with a country record, electronic record, a hip hop record. He's so versatile. I have nothing but great things to say about Toro. Low points in the track list. Do you have any?
I felt like I had to force some. So I'm going to initially say no for the most part, but I will say, because that's the thing, like every song has its moments. So this one you can say was forced, and this was one of your top songs, so which was Satisfaction. And the issue is I like Satisfaction. I did not like the beginning. And Spelling is my girl. I rock with you, Spelling. But the beginning.
And you know what? The end saved, maybe because the end of that track was so good. I don't even remember the beginning. So you make a great point. It wasn't gloom and doom for me for that track. It still made my top 5, but I get what you're saying though. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So in that beginning, it's like just her solo vocals, and she's, I don't know, she's kind of, I don't know. I didn't like it, but I still rock with Spelling the Long Way. So that's just one of them. Another one that I had, and this, I'm nitpicking, but the very last song, Sometimes.
I got the same track. I got that same one.
Really? Okay, so let me just get my gripes out the way. I thought the production was great. I thought it was great. I just wasn't feeling the song all the way, and I was doing a little research. Now, I don't listen to My Bloody Valentine. Couldn't name you one song, but apparently this is a cover of My Bloody Valentine song. So, just wasn't feeling it, but the production was awesome.
I thought the production was too loud for me, but I felt like her vocals was better than the original, but the original was so toned down as far as instrumentally. It was toned down. It was a very mellow song, and she made it hers. She made it Spelling. She made it sound like her, which I like. Sometimes, for example, Rihanna covered Tame Impala, right? She made it, they almost sound alike. She used the same beat. She sung it the same way. This song right here, you can actually hear, because it's like when I was listening to the My Bloody Valentine version, I could barely make out the vocals or the lyrics. And with hers, I was like, oh, that's what they're saying.
Gotcha.
But the instrumental was so loud, and I was just like, maybe if it evened out a little bit with her vocals, it would have sat well with me. But then, and like you said, it's just nitpicking. It's not a bad song. It's not a bad cover at all. And that's what makes this album so good. So I'm gonna, even though it's a low point, it's not saying that it's a bad song for me. I just think that, she did if I had to nitpick, compare it to the cover, I would say the cover, I think it's about even as far as because how, you got those old heads out there, it doesn't sound like the original, the original is better than this. What is this? D'Angelo, Smokey Robinson sung it better. It's like,
yeah,
okay, all right, cool, that's fine. But at the end of the day, they both can sing,
right?
And I've heard way worse covers, but yeah, this is not a bad cover. It just wasn't a song I go back to on the track list. That's all. And that's all we're saying. So replay value, final thoughts. Is this a front to backer for you, or is it more of a, I'll take my favorites here and there and just throw them in a playlist for you?
That's tough to answer, to give you the straightforward answer, because I'm long-winded. It's more likely that I'd throw it in a playlist. I usually, when I'm listening to a project cover to cover, I'll add the songs to certain playlists. I have an indie playlist where anything that's, outside of the box, even if it's indie rock or whatever, I'll add it to that playlist. All those songs that I said are my favorites, even the ones that I didn't like at the beginning, I added. But I would encourage anyone to listen cover to cover, because something that doesn't resonate with myself might resonate with someone else. For me, playlist.
Yeah, same here. I got a lot of playlists dedicated to certain things, and that definitely, this one falls into the eclectic one. I had a question here in the agenda, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Okay, if you were to recommend Spelling as an artist, where would you tell them or the audience to start, just to get a feel for her before? Because I know this is not an album that I'm gonna just go around and say, hey, you heard the new, Portrait of My Heart? Hey, check this out. Where would you tell them to start?
The Turning Wheel. I would, in full disclosure, I only listened to Mozzie Fly, The Turning Wheel, Spelling School of Mystery, or whatever that was, where she reworked some songs, and this one. Now, that album where it's all red, I heard select songs years ago when I first got into her. So, my knowledge of her full discography is limited. So I would first go to The Turning Wheel for anyone else.
Yeah, I agree with that. If I had to choose Mozzie or Turning Wheel, you can't go wrong with either one of those. Her first album, I kind of grazed through it a little bit. Sounds more ambient, instrumental. She wasn't doing some singing, but it was kind of a more spacey project than anything. Good introduction to her as an artist, but not something I would recommend to a casual fan or someone who just is looking for something new. I would definitely go with Turning Wheel and Mozzie if I had to choose. You can't go wrong with either one of those. How would you rank this album in comparison to the others? That's for those listening.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's tough because the album's still new, and over time, opinions changed. I remember, I'll never forget how I did not like Sylvia Demo by Isaiah Rashad when I was a little young man, and I didn't like it for whatever reason. And one day I was listening to it and it just clicked, and I loved it. So I would have to give it some time, but man, this is a tough thing to answer. Where it ranks within her discography, to my limited knowledge, I'm biased, so I'm going Turning Wheel, Mozzie Fly, then we'll do Portrait of My Heart, and then everything else. I can't even count Spelling School of Mystery.
I don't count that.
I can't count it.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Still fairly new. I think this is one of those albums I agree with you. I think it's gonna be one of those albums that's not gonna hit you until later on, where when you revisit it, you're gonna be like, man, let's just say this. Let's just say this about Spelling. She's on a 3-album run right now that nobody's talking about. She's dropped 1 classic and 2 like near ones. Like for an artist like this who's fairly not that known and probably only needs like that 1 accidental hit to put her on the map, and people go back and listen to her and they're like, oh my God, this woman is putting out amazing music and no one is really listening to it, you know? So I think she's on a great run. 3, I don't count her last one, so I'm gonna say 3-album run for Spelling. And you know, she keeps bringing the heat, and again, you never know what direction she's gonna go. That's what makes her unique. Yeah, she's good. She got it, man. She got it. Yeah. So final rating for you. I don't know if you rate albums or anything. I know there's a big Discord out there about, you know, the ratings have been under attack. I don't know if you know this.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
I forgot what episode it was. I was watching some podcast and they were talking about Mike the Snare. There's a guy named Mike the Snare. He does album reviews too, but I think he's kind of steered away from album reviews. He's doing more like new music that's out and just kind of putting it out there for people. But he talked about it, how, you know, people rating albums is looked down upon now, giving album a 5 out of a 5, or if you got a scale of 1 to 10, a 4 out of 10, you know, or this, that, and the third. But for me, I changed it. I did do the 1 to 10 in the beginning, and then I changed it to like a Starbucks type of venti, you know, grande this. Yeah. Then I was like, okay, I don't want to get sued. So let's go. If I ever get popular, I don't know. But anyway, I just went with coffee cups or coffee mugs, and I'm doing a scale of 1 through 5. So for me, I'll just kick it off and say, I'm going to give this one a 4 coffee mugs out of 5. 4 solid coffee mugs out of 5.
Wow. That's awesome. That's high esteem. All right. Goodness. Mine is not going to compare, and I'm not good at rating albums. Yeah. So this might come as a surprise after all this good stuff that I said. So I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 based off of, and you can see where my head is at. If anybody questions this, I enjoyed a lot. 7 out of 11 songs. I believe I did 7 divided by 11. That gets around like 63%. I rounded it up to 65, so 6.5 out of 10.
Gotcha. And mine's, as far as solid goes, like the 4, it's more in the 3.5 range, but 4 is a solid 4.
Yeah.
You know, not higher, like a 4.25 or anything like that, just a 4. Like I said, it had its flaws, but it wasn't bad flaws. It was just, some things I didn't really rock with the album. And there were some things that I was like, man, this is nostalgic. It's taking me back to the early 2000s, late mid 90s when I was watching, MTV, when MTV was showing videos, like this was Spelly reached in her bag. Like I said, she got motivated. I don't know what she was doing. She was chilling at grandma's house, and I don't know what she's doing, cleaning the house, and just had it on in the background and said, you know what? My next album's going to be that. So it is what it is. Those are our ratings. We're sticking to them. Unless QoolHand changes his mind later on and drops an episode.
I'll probably change my mind in a month. Give it a 7.5.
You know what? I was on that Coffee and Beats podcast and I just totally slandered spelling.
I dropped the ball on a lot of things, so this might be one of them.
Well, I will say this, spelling is definitely, if you're listening, keep up the good work. We appreciate all the work that you do here. Keep them coming. That's all we gotta say. Definitely.
Do a show in Pittsburgh, by the way. Yeah, that's...
She's coming to Chicago.
Well, if you get to go, enjoy that, man.
I'm not. It's on my meeting night.
Okay. You know what? It always works that way.
Yeah,
it always works that way.
Yeah. I was pretty upset. And I don't like the venue she's performing at. I'm done with the standing up, man. I'm done. My standing up day's been over.
Yeah, the concert, going to a concert is rough, especially if you want a good spot to stand in. Then you gotta be there super early. It's rough. I understand.
Yeah, but I got fortunate. Before we go into our last segment, I got fortunate. Went to go see Say She, the group, and it was a spot in Chicago I never heard of. But they found it and they performed there. We got there super early and there was a table right on the side of the stage with chairs. Me and my wife sat there and that was our spot. And we were right there at the entrance where Say She comes out. So literally we was just up close and personal the whole concert and got a chance to stand up, rock for a little bit on the songs that we like, and then sit back down.
That's what's up.
It was love.
That's what's up.
But Alex Isley, she need to give me my feedback. She need to give me my feedback, man. I stood up for a long time for her. She rocked it, but my God, it gave me a reminder, man. I can't do it. I'm a barber. I stayed up all the time.
Yeah. Your feet, your lower back, shoulders at a certain point.
Yeah. It just gets irritating. So just before we close out, man, I like to do this with all my guests. In the past, I've done this with special guests that we've done collab album reviews for. Any albums that's been in your rotation, whether it's old, whether it's new, that you would like to recommend to the listeners, feel free to share it.
100%. So my music taste is very biased at this point in time. Honestly, if you didn't reach out for to do this review, I probably wouldn't have listened to Spelling's project at all, only because the space that I'm in right now with jazz. I picked up the alto sax. I used to play tenor as a kid. I picked up the alto and all I listen to is jazz now. So Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders, he's my favorite. I just got into this player that I found. His name is Branford Marsalis, and this guy is amazing. He's in his 60s now and he's still performing, but he has an album called Crazy People Music. The album cover is one of the worst album covers I ever saw in my life. And this album's from 1990, so I think things were harder back then when it comes to putting out an album. And this is a jazz artist, so I wouldn't imagine they had a huge budget for certain things. So this album cover is horrible, but the music is amazing. So and he's a tenor saxophone player, but this guy's amazing. So yeah, Branford Marsalis Quartet, Crazy People Music. I would recommend Karma by Pharoah Sanders. Yeah, I'll stop there. I could go on forever.
What about also Weldon Irvin? Are you up on Weldon Irvin?
I am not.
Yes, well, check out Weldon Irvin. He's pretty dope. He actually came out, hold on, it was an album he came out called The Sisters. It came out back in 2016. It's a pretty good record. Hip hop has sampled a lot of his music in the past, but also Time Capsule is a really good album as well.
Well, I like this album cover.
Yeah.
For The Sisters.
Yes.
So Time Capsule is another one?
Yeah, Time Capsule is another one. It was one of my favorites from that year. But yeah, good jazz music for you too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, let me know your feedback, what you think of that. For me, anything else? No,
that's it. I'm ready for your stuff. You're the music expert, man.
I wouldn't say expert. I just love, it just comes from just trying to when you're trying to get away from something, you're trying to like go as far away from it as possible. You know what I mean, without saying it. You get into this rabbit hole, man, and you just can't come out of it. You just diving into all these different genres, and you just fall in love with all of this music. I just dropped on my Patreon. As of this recording, it should be, once I post this episode, it already should be on YouTube. But Salin, she's a drummer. She came out with an album called Ramana. Very good album. It's like Thai infused with jazz type of vibe. So really good album. Mostly instrumental. It's got some vocals here and there, but it's pretty good. Easy, short, simple, in and out. It gets the job done. I'm a beat head, of course. I love me some beats. It's this cat named Low Key. He's a producer, beat maker. He's got an album called Of Age. It's an instrumental album. I don't know if you're familiar with the producer from the West Coast, DiBiase.
I've heard the name, but I can't say I'm familiar.
Okay. Yeah, it's his nephew, actually. And is actually DiBiase's on the album cover holding him as a baby.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. Very good instrumental album. And then I slept on this project last year. I don't know how I was so mad when I heard this next record. It would have made my top 25. Ella Thompson. It's called Ripple on a Wing. This album is so chill. Her voice is so eloquent. It's very bouncy. It's got some very nice production, good grooves, very good album. Ella Thompson, check it out. And then a couple of EPs that I throw out there. Melanie Fiona is back. For those who are Melanie Fiona, yeah, she has an EP. She got a new EP. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
Check it out. It's called Say Yes. Check it out. It's good. She's got Thundercats on there. It's not bad, man. It's not bad.
I haven't heard that name since I was in high school, so thank you.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, Melanie Fiona's back? I saw her in concert when she first came out, and she was opening. I forgot who she was. Oh, she was opening up for what's the chick's name? It's leaving me. She used to be in Floetry.
Marsha
Ambrosius. Marsha
yeah,
Ambrosius.
okay.
Yeah, she opened up for her. Yeah, very dope. And then last but not least, this cat named Joey K. He's an R&B artist. It's an EP. If Not Now, Then When is the name of the EP. Really chill vibes right there. Just something to play in the background. But he's got a smooth voice. But those are my album recommendations. I know I had a lot, but I haven't been doing a lot of episodes, so I'm trying to get them all out there.
Yeah. Music is music.
Yeah.
Music recommendations, we can all use them.
For sure. So, hey, QoolHand, I appreciate you hopping on board into the music cafe, to just review this album. If you guys enjoy listening to spelling, or if you're a spelling fan, mention it in the comment section below. I'll be down there chatting with you. QoolHand, thanks a lot for joining me here on Coffee and Beats.
Thank you for having me once again. It's an honor, man. It's an honor. I respect what you do. I love the knowledge that you have. I love how you explore and listen to different music, whether it's indie, whether it's alt, pop, whatever. You are so thorough. I want to give you your props, because it is hard for me to do music reviews. It's hard. Like, it's legitimately a task for me. And I don't know how hard it is for you, but you make it look easy. So you are a true music head, true music listener. I respect your ear. And yeah.
I appreciate it, my brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. I appreciate it. It's not easy for me either. You know, sometimes I actually took a couple of months off because I was getting just writer's block almost sometimes, and just like having that fear of, oh man, I don't want to just rush an episode on just to put an album out there. If an album really grabs me, or if I feel like an album really is not that good and I feel it, I'm gonna put the episode out. No, I appreciate that, man. I just want to help as many as I can. People having problems with trying to find new music, try to create that avenue, you know, in the world of streaming where you can just access anything. So appreciate it, my brother. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for the love. Hey, check out QoolHand Podcast. Something you got to deal with. It's on all streaming platforms. I got the links down below. So click all those links and follow my guy. All right. Please do that. It's an awesome podcast. Lots of good interviews. You touch on fashion and music here and there, you know, but good interviews with other artists and things of that nature, whether they're into clothing, poetry, hip hop, whatever the case. I really appreciate your podcast as well, my brother. So
thank you.
Yeah. So if y'all listening, click them links, man. Don't be shy. Go ahead and do it.
Yes, do that.
All right. When it comes to coffee, when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.